Hi. Hey guys. Happy Monday. How's everyone doing? You doing good? Everybody's excited about life. And hey, what's going on? How are we? It's Monday, the day after Easter. Did everybody have just a very unusual, awesome Easter? It was so weird. We still woke up and we still got dressed and we ordered a honey baked ham, although we did a drive by because they wouldn't let us come in the store. And we did a church Easter egg hunt in our cars, which were virtual. So it was a very interesting Easter. But Easter, I hope that you were able to spend time with family, even if it's just the few family members that are living in your current home. God has really been speaking to me a lot. One thing that I love, the thing I love most about my job, is that I get to work with people, right? That's what I do. I work in missions, so I get to work with people, and it doesn't matter your age or your gender or your economic status or your race, anything like that. I just get to work with everyone, and it's so exciting for me, and I have such a heart for it. And I've really been asking God to show me some different things and what I love the most about God. And sometimes I struggle with, but overall I love about God is that He always allows me to be the guinea pig before I deliver anything, whether it is something like jumping on Facebook or I'm speaking at a conference. God always allows me to be the guinea pig before I present anything to anyone. And I love that because He wants to make sure I've gone through the fire too, that I understand the word He's trying to speak through me, that I really get it. And I've been thinking a lot about Ecclesiastes 3. And if you're not familiar with that, it talks about that there is a time and a season for everything. There is a time to weep, and there's a time to laugh, and there's a time to mourn, and there's a time to dance, and there's a time to be silent, and there's a time to speak, and there's a time to embrace, and there's a time to refrain. And I think this is so, forbearing and so true of today. I was thinking about there's a time that some of us are literally just sitting at home crying. We're like, oh my gosh, what happened to my life? What is going on? What about my job? What about my health? What about my family? What about my finances? We're just crying. And then there's times where we're just laughing uncontrollably because we're living in the moment and we're spending time with family, and we're just laughing and we're enjoying this very interesting and odd season. There's times where we're getting up and we're dancing like crazy because there's no one to watch us. And so we finally have the guts to dance and look like Elaine from Seinfeld. If you've never seen Seinfeld, she's like dancing horribly. But it's like we finally have this courage. And there's times that we are just going to embrace our family and embrace the situation and embrace what's going on. And then there's a time that we're going to refrain and we're going to pull back and we're struggling. And I've just been thinking about how true this application is of seasons. And it's kind of like when we were living in Denver, we loved the winter in the beginning. And then once February hit, we were ready for spring. And I think a lot of us, no matter where you are in the world, we're ready for spring. We're ready to get out and we're ready to enjoy the sunshine. And we're ready to be able to get out of this cabin fever of winter. And that's really where we are, I feel like, as a world, is that we are in a winter. We're in a place where we are hibernating. We're staying indoors. We're probably watching a lot of TV. But most of us, I would say, are probably ready for spring. We're ready to get out there. And I just want to let you know that I think we all feel this way. But one thing God has really been encouraging me in is to enjoy the moment. And a lot of people say that, and it sounds so corny sometimes, but the truth is that we need to enjoy the moment, because even though this seems like it's been going on a while, and it seems like it might continue to go on for a while, in the glimpse of things, when we look back on our life, I really truly believe with my whole heart that it's not going to be as long as we think it is, and that we need to enjoy this season. And it's a wild season, right? A lot of us began whenever it hit your particular town or country or city, where we're all panicking, we're buying toilet paper and ramen, we are putting our kids on strict schedules. to make sure they stay up to date and things like this. And then we have kind of fallen off the wagon. I know for us, we used to have pizza night on Friday night, and like this week we had it 3 times. It's like, oh, pizza night is every night now. And I'm in the season where like I get one hand painted and then my daughter wakes up and so the other hand's still not painted. And this is life. Like this is what we're going through, right? So small of problems, but it's just this new normal that we're all trying to figure out. How do we work from home? How do we provide food for our families? How do we provide comfort? How do we stay sane with one another, constantly being with each other? How do we stay healthy? How do we get the necessary needs that we need when there's restrictions and we can't get out or we're scared to get out for health concerns? How do we keep our businesses running and providing things for our family? There's so many questions. And God has really been hitting on my heart that He is calling His family, His church, His people to come together and help one another. Now, I know I talk a lot about in the empowerment program how we are providing food for a lot of our nonprofit partners. We are providing hygiene products. We are providing gift cards. We are providing cleaning products. But I want you to know that we want to provide for you as well. And we believe that if everyone around the world came together and not only lend a hand, but also received it back, that so much of this stress and anxiety would go away. I do not like asking for help. I would literally rather do something wrong than ask for help. And I think that some of it's a pride issue. Some of it is I can do it myself. I'm capable. I've never not been able to do it myself. So why would I ask for help? Some of it is I feel like people might let me down. And so why just do it? I'll just do it myself. Or I feel like, I don't know, like I don't want to be a burden to someone. And I don't want to come across as weak. I can do it. I should be able to do this. And God has really been speaking to me that it's okay if there are seasons in your life where you can't. And we've been doing as a church, we've been calling around to folks that either attend our church or have previously attended our church just to see how they're doing and pray for them. And I've spoken to a lot of you, and I know our team members have spoken to a lot of you, at least here in the Southern Orange County area, who have said, I can't work because I own my own business and things like that, and things aren't going well, and I'm hoping they start back up. And it's hard though if I say, is there something that you need? Immediately we say no. And I remember growing up. Do you remember growing up? If any of you remember this, if you're probably 25 or older, you'll remember. If you ran out of sugar or you ran out of an egg, a lot of us did not go to the store. Where do we go? Our next door neighbor. We went and said, do you have a cup of sugar? Do you have an egg? A lot of us growing up, at least for me, when my parents would go on date nights, they would always just ask neighborhood people to come over and help. Or if we need help tutoring, they would always just ask. They're like, listen, this is not my subject. I am horrible at math. And if my child has a chance, she needs a tutor. But somehow in society, in our world, we have gotten to be so hardened to accepting things. We might be fine giving, but it's hard to accept. And I don't know where that came from. I know I struggle with that. But the one thing the Lord has been challenging me on so strongly is to allow people to help you. I'm in a season right now where the doctor, because I'm pregnant and have some health stuff going on, they don't want me getting out. And so there's times where I know for me, I'm like, gosh, we really need this. And I even feel bad asking my own husband to get it because I feel like, well, gosh, I don't want to be a burden on him. And normally I would do all the shopping. And I've had to learn to get over that. I've had to learn that when there's people in our church who've dropped off toilet paper to my home or wipes for my daughter, that I need to be so thankful and accepting of that, because really it is more blessed to give than receive. And there are times in our life where we need to be givers and it blesses our heart, but there are times where we need to allow other people to bless us. And I think that's a big thing that we need to learn, and something that I really believe strongly that God is trying to teach us in this season. There's a lot of things I believe He's trying to teach us, but one is to allow people to help. And so if you need help, I want to encourage you, if you live in this area, we would love to help you. If you need help with meals, if you need help with groceries, if you need help running errands, we would love to help you. If you need help with prayer, because or you just need to be prayed for because honestly, your children are on your last nerve. You feel like I'm a bad parent. I'm struggling here. I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. I don't know how these children are ever going to pass algebra with my help. And that would be me. We want to pray with you. We want to support you in this season. And if you do not live in Southern California, I want to encourage you to reach out to friends, to reach out to family members, to reach out to churches that are in your area, because I know that if we all come together and help one another as a unit, the world is going to be stronger. It's going to be kinder. It's going to be a lot less stress-free. And, I was thinking about Moses, and I love Moses for a lot of reasons. But I love his strength. And I feel like I resonate with him in some areas, not a lot, but in some when it comes to strength. This I can do it myself mentality. And when I feel like the Lord has called me to certain things, I feel like I should be able to carry it out myself. But there is a part in his story, if you turn to your Bible in Exodus 18, where they are now out of Egypt and they are wandering. And he is the in between God and all of the folks that are coming with him. And his father-in-law comes to him and he says to him, he's like, Moses, you're the judge for all of these people. They're coming to you with requests and you're giving them answers and you're judging them, but it's too much for you. It's too much for you to handle. Even Moses, it was too much for him to handle because no one except God can do it all. None of us can do it all. And he says, when Moses' father-in-law saw all he was doing, he said, what is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone as judge while all of these people stand around you from morning till evening? And he begins to tell, well, I'm just doing God's will. I'm just doing what God tells me to do. And he goes, you and these people who come with you are only going to wear yourselves out. Your work is too heavy for you. You could not handle this alone. Anybody feel like right now you just cannot handle this alone, but you don't know where to go? You don't know where to go, how you can ask for help, who you should ask for help, who you can trust to ask for help, who you can let your guard down to ask for help. And he goes, listen to me. I'm going to give you some advice here, Moses. And God's going to be with you in this. You need to select capable men that are with you who fear God, who are trustworthy, who hate dishonesty, and appoint them as officials over you to help. Have them serve as judges with you, and then they will be the middleman between the people and you. Have someone help you do these things, Moses, he's saying. If you do this, and so God commands, you will be able to stand the strain, and all of these people will go home satisfied. Right now, I think a lot of us are just so burdened with everything between trying to work from home and juggling that and juggling kids and trying to have kids do work, or maybe your kids are out of the house, but you're still trying to figure out your finances and your health. And maybe you don't have kids yet, but you're still trying to figure out how to stay healthy and how to have your job and how to still have some kind of social life while staying at home. And there's all of these things and all of these burdens that we're carrying in our life alone. And we need to look at what his father-in-law says. He's like, listen, you're straining yourself too much. You need help in this. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. It says in Matthew 7, ask and it will be given to you. We need to ask God, our Heavenly Father, for help, but he also appoints wise counsel in our life to allow us to go to them for help. And so one of the things I really, really wanted to speak to you about today is just asking for help, not being ashamed of it. And maybe it's something you need to go to the Lord and say, Lord, I really struggle with this. It's something I had to do, you guys. I had to say, Lord, you know my heart. I struggle with pride. I struggle with being able to do it myself. But please, 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 Lord, allow me to be able to accept things from folks, because I know how blessed I feel when I can give. And I know I'm taking away someone else's blessing when I do not allow them to help me. I really wanted to encourage you in that. We've been able to help a lot of people recently with our food drives. And if you live in the area, we are doing food drives every single Sunday. And I want to let you know that they are so helpful. Last week, we were able to feed 83 families. And if you know, the weather in California has been a little crazy. If you live here, it's been raining. And I talked to the Boys and Girls Club CEO, and he said people stood out in the rain for 2 to 3 hours while it downpoured rain, waiting in line for food. We all need help. We all need assistance. And so we were able to feed 83 people. We want to continue to feed not just our nonprofit partners, but our community. And so if you are living in this area and you want to drop off canned goods, we are doing it every single week. We are trying to get food out to as many people as we can. So we would love your help and donations. But if you don't live in the area, look up ways that you can serve and ways that you can give, because it really is blessed to give. But I also think when we give, then when we receive, we don't feel as guilty. And so maybe you say, I'm going to give 2 canned goods away, and then I'm going to give up the courage and the gusto to say, hey, I need a meal for my family. Here at Influence Church, we have a whole team of men and women who love to cook and would like to provide meals for those who have lost jobs and are currently just living in COVID. I mean, it is real, y'all. There are people that are really losing jobs. There are people that are really losing homes. There are people that are struggling with their health. And if we all come together and surround one another and help one another, the world truly will be such a better place. I also want to encourage you not just to ask for help, but to enjoy the moments. One thing that we started doing was putting our phone in a different room for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. So we're not tempted to text people, to jump on Instagram, to jump on social media, to look at all the news reports, to just be present with one another. And we have had such a great time just as a family connecting again, because we're not on our phone. And so I would just encourage you, if you can, one way to enjoy the moment is to put your phone in another room, say, okay, for the next hour, I'm going to have family time. If I get a call, I'll call them back. It's 1 hour. We get 24 a day. And just really be present with your family. The other thing is give yourself grace. This is one thing that I know is hard. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I know it's hard for me too, is there are times where we just feel like we're failing. But what we need to understand is that we're in a pandemic, and this is something that none of us have ever gone through. We spoke to my husband's grandma the other day, and she's 87 or 6. And she said, I've never in my life gone through like something like this. I would say 99% of us have never gone through something like this in our world. So we have got to give ourselves grace. And it can be hard because we can beat ourselves up. I was beating myself up yesterday about the fact that I hadn't sent out my thank you notes from my baby shower that they had 2 months ago. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And my girlfriend said, Jen, we're going through a pandemic. I think people will understand you didn't send out thank you notes. But we're so hard on ourselves, aren't we? We all are. And we're like, we're a bad mom. We're a bad dad. We're bad at our jobs. We're a bad kid. We're a bad, all of these things. And it's not helpful. And it's from the enemy. He wants to try to attack us and bring us down. So we stoop into this lull in our life. And the truth of the matter is we are all doing the best we can. And so one way I want to encourage you is to begin to write down ways you succeeded that day. So if you go to bed and you're like, man, I'm failing at this, at my job, at being a parent, at having vegetables for my children, at paying bills, at whatever it is, write down what you did that day to succeed. And that will uplift you and carry you to the next day. And the next day you say, okay, I did 5 things great yesterday. I'm going to try to do 6. And if I don't, that's okay. What were the 4 or 3 or 2 things that I did right or did that made me proud or that I was excited? Or, hey, I got laundry done today. Praise him. My child is in clean underwear. Let's go. Let's just rejoice in the small things. And then lastly is trust even when it's quiet. I was reading yesterday in my Jesus Calling book, and it said, trusting me in a moment by moment is a choice. People have not always understood this truth. After I performed miracles in the wilderness, my chosen children trusted me intensely, but only temporarily. Soon the grumbling began again, testing my patience to the utmost. Isn't it often the same way with us? You trust me when things are going well, when you see me working on your behalf. This type of trust flows readily within you, requiring no exertion of your will. When things go wrong, your trust slows down and solidifies. You are forced to choose between trusting me intentionally or rebelling, resenting my ways with you. This choice constitutes a fork in the road. Stay on the path of life with me. Enjoy my presence. Choose to trust me in all circumstances. I want to encourage you, no matter what you're going through, to just lean in to God, get into his word. And I know it's hard to trust when jobs are being lost, when food is hard to find, when people are getting sick, when people might have passed away, when things are closed, when you're wondering when we're going to get to a new normal, when things are going to be open. But we'd hate to look back on this time and say, man, it was such a missed opportunity where I could have really learned from the Lord, where I could have grown in my faith, where I could have learned to trust him when I was in a valley, not just on a mountaintop. We are doing so many amazing things with the empowerment program. And the one thing that we are trying to really hone in on is how can we trust God to grow this program when so much of it is having our boots on the street, is having our feet on the street. And God will do it if you press in. I want to encourage you to press in today. If you want to get involved in our program, DM me or email me at jen@influencechurch.org. We are doing a lot of great things in the community. We are doing Bible studies, virtual Bible studies. We're doing virtual workforce development with nonprofits who are getting folks out of homelessness. We are doing food drives. And it's a very, very exciting way to get connected. We love you. We are here for you. We are praying for you. Even if you do not live in Southern California, if you would like to connect via prayer, we would love to be here to pray for you. We hope you have a great day, a great rest of your week. I hope, like you, maybe you'll only have pizza twice this week, and we'll see you next Monday. God bless.